Sitting outside the church this morning, I came up here to do this little video, and there's guys working in the sanctuary putting in new speakers, and so I'm out by Arnold Drive where they are installing new gas lines, and there's the usual traffic going up and down the road. Reminds me of life. It's busy. It never is working out quite the way we planned. And yet in the midst of that, to be able to find those places that are still and as quiet as can be. I'm actually sitting on a bench that's dedicated to one of our members that passed some years ago. Wonderful, wonderful guy, Jerry Sandin. And it's just it's a bench underneath this magnificent oak tree. And just sitting here and remembering that with everything going on in life, and with a new Supreme Court nominee, and the shouting and the rhetoric has gone to another decibel level, it's even more important to find time to be quiet enough to hear the voice of God. I had an amazing experience this last weekend, and it started a few weeks before when I had gone to the Hannah Institute and had heard a woman speak on criminal justice. And a guy named Mick stood up at the end and said, "I'm putting together a luncheon. It's from an organization called No More Tears. It's a prison ministry. We'd love to invite anybody that's here to come down." And I just had this sense that the Spirit was sitting behind me and just went, "This is for you." And so I went up to Mick and gave him my card, and I said, "I'll be there." And rounded up Eric, and we went down there on Saturday to a Taylor Methodist Church in West Oakland. And in the midst of the news shouting at us about everything that's wrong and all of that, this was a quiet place where men and women were telling their stories and connecting with each other around healing, around new hope. And it's not that everyone that they touch with their ministry, in a sense, makes it. I'm reminded of that from my own recovery. When I go into the rooms of the 12-step groups, the best estimate is that only 10% of us make it in sobriety. But being quiet enough to hear God's voice is a big part of that. And trusting that God is with us. And that while things do seem completely unmanageable, and there is insanity in the air, that to turn our will and our lives over the care of God every day and be still to hear the voice of God can make all the difference in the world. So I had this amazing experience down at Taylor Methodist Church, and then Sunday afternoon I went with my wife and some friends, and we went to see Won't You Be My Neighbor, the documentary on Fred Rogers. And I'm going to start crying here. Fred embodied God's message of love, that all of us are created as God's children. And his message was simple and deep. And that's what I needed to hear. I need to cheer that soccer team and their coach in Thailand have been, the rescuers got him out of the cave. And the whole world cheers. But I need to be praying and as concerned for the children on our border who've been separated from their parents. That we're all God's children. And how do we learn to love each other as Jesus loved us? Simple and deep.